The Shark-Headed Bear Thing, Chapter 11. The shark-headed bear things moved slowly. They advanced along the passageway towards the children, drool dangling from their jagged teeth. Some crawled on 4 legs, while others walked on 2. Ben counted the monsters. There were 12 of them, and not a lava river in sight. There was no choice. They had to run. Paradise? Stumbled a voice from somewhere in the shadows beyond the beast. Ben held up the jar and the darkness was pushed aside. A dishevelled figure hunched a little further along the tunnel, his face caked with dirt. Paradise, is that you? Mare! Paradise yelped. She darted toward him, but Ben caught her by the arm and pulled her back, just as the bear things began to growl. No, he said. Stay back. We can't get to him. Let me go, Paradise protested, but Ben kept his grip. He drew back as the monsters took another step closer. Wesley, can you do anything? Wesley hesitated. Soil myself, possibly, he whispered. Come on, Ben urged. Even a level 1 wizard must know some spells. I'm not sure, Wesley stammered. I don't know. Paradise rounded on him, desperation blazing in her eyes. Do it. Whatever you can do. Just do it. Please. Briefly, it looked like Wesley might burst into tears, but then he nodded. Ben and Paradise took another shuffled step back, but Wesley stayed where he was. He raised his hands and shot a nervous glance over his shoulder. You can do it, said Ben. Wesley gave a cautious nod. I can do it. His fingers began to dance as the shadows of the bear things drew in around him. He could hear their breathing ringing loudly in the narrow space. He tried to ignore it, to push down his fears and remember his training. Oh, yummy. What was it now? He muttered. The growling of the monsters rolled off the walls on either side of him. Oh, yummy, Curus. Something. Didymus. Bio. Thingy. Tiny yellow sparks spun like Catherine wheels from the tips of his fingers. There was a bang and a puff of smoke. Ben and Paradise gazed in wonder as a small amount of warm custard appeared in the air between Wesley and the bear things. It seemed to hang there in empty space for a few seconds, then it fell with a splat to the floor. Wesley stared down at the yellow puddle. He swallowed nervously. Or was it Didymus Bezo thingy, he wondered, before Ben shoved him out of the way. Cover your eyes, Ben instructed. You too, Mare. Ben hurled the glass jar toward the monsters, then screwed his eyes shut and raised his arms in front of his face. There was a smash, then a whoosh. Then the shark-headed bear things began to squeal in shock. Ben raced forwards. Even with his eyes closed, the light blazed through his eyelids and made his head throb. Mare! He called. Where are you? Over here! Cried the mare, and Ben made for the direction of the sound. This way! Follow my voice! He shouted to the others, pushing through the heaving mass of squealing bear things. He expected them to grab for him, but they were obviously too busy with problems of their own. They writhed and thrashed and howled in pain. Their eyes, so used to the darkness of the underground tunnels, were burning in the blinding brightness. Ben collided hard with the mare, who immediately let out a high-pitched scream of fright. Don't eat me! Don't eat me! I chew my own earwax! It's me, Mr. Mare, Ben said. I'm here to rescue you. We're here to rescue you, Paradise corrected, as she and Wesley stumbled through the thrashing knot of monsters. Oh, that's wonderful news, the mare yelped. He fumbled for Paradise and hugged her tightly. Hooray for daring rescues! You're not hurt, are you, my dear? No, I'm fine. The dazzle of the lights through Ben's eyelids had begun to fade a little, and the squeals of the bear things were becoming more and more like growls again. Paradise, said Ben. Hate to break up the reunion, but we need a way out. On it, she replied. Even with her eyes shut, she could find the way. She could find anything. And take my hand, she told the mare. Ben, Wesley, take his other arm. Make a chain. Stay together. The boys grasped around until they found the mare. They hung on as Paradise led them the first few faltering steps away from the bear things. The light was still fading. It had almost dimmed enough for them to open their eyes. Any second now, the monsters might recover. Quickly, Wesley urged. If we run, we might fall, Paradise said. If we don't run, we'll definitely get eaten, Wesley replied. No, I know which one I'd prefer, the mare whimpered. Paradise picked up the pace, but only a little. The monsters were no longer squealing and hissing in pain. They would still be dazzled, but that wouldn't last. Ben tried to open his eyes, but the fading glow of the tiny sun forced them shut again. A moment later, Paradise pulled them round a corner and the shadows crept up to meet them. They blinked in the cool darkness, and patterns of light swirled across their vision. Freshly dug soil and chunks of rock lay piled up in mounds around them. This tunnel looked brand new, as if only been dug within the last few hours. It opened into a tall, cylinder-like cave that stretched up into blackness somewhere far above them. Only, it wasn't a cave exactly. The walls weren't made of stone. They were made of packed dirt and tangled roots, and Ben shuddered when he saw a small army of bugs squirming across them. From where he was standing, there didn't appear to be any other passageways leading away from the room. Well, said Ben, I thought you were taking us to the way out. Paradise closed her eyes again, but only for a moment this time. She looked upwards. There, she said. The way out's up there. Great, sighed Ben. What are we supposed to do? Fly up? Well, you're the big hero, Paradise replied. You figure something out. The stairs, perhaps? Suggested Wesley, squeezing between them. He pointed to a set of rough stone steps that had been cut into the curved wall. The mare made a run for it, racing towards the steps as fast as his legs could carry him. Come on, he yelped, before those things come back. The others set off after him, but Ben hung back. He frowned. Stairs? He muttered, and he found his eyes creeping over to a spot where the floor met the wall. There was just enough light coming from the fading miniature sun to pick out the details of a small wooden chest and a lump of rock with a piece of cloth draped over it. Ben stared at the open chest. He stared at his glove. Tavish's basement, he realised, looking up at the ceiling above him. This is Tavish's basement! This is my house!